Yo, how's it going, guys? It's Richie Unicorn Caller here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is basically like the only time I have available to make a YouTube video. Of course, it's late at night, and this will basically also be the last video of Wizard101 on my channel of 2023, at least in some time zone, in my time zone it is. But without further ado, sit back, relax, and take a trip down memory lane with me as we kind of recap 2023 and kind of, I guess, hope for 2024 and all the stuff they could do and all the stuff that's coming, or at least what we know of. So over here, we're gonna start off with the first update. This is the Rate My Stitch update. This was a pretty decent update. I actually liked the Rate My Stitch event. Of course, it's a place where you can basically get those Stitch tokens, which basically allows you to stitch your gear completely for free. Like, you literally don't have to spend crowns. You can just stock up on those Stitch tokens and basically just stitch your gear for free. Definitely a great alternative if you don't want to do the 10 trivias. But yeah, we also had challenge mode, which challenge mode, I'm just still not the best fan of challenge mode. I mean, it's a really cool concept and I've done it multiple times. I think it's really cool, but it's just like, I don't know, I still think it's kind of like a tedious mode, especially with all the heavy restrictions that go further beyond this update. But overall, this was a pretty good update. I mean, new Beast Moon event forms, new event rewards. We also had the Nightmare Swamp Gauntlet, which was pretty cool. It has some nice little jewel drops, and of course you have the potential chance of getting the gear. And I think I mentioned this in a video kind of talking about how some of the newer gauntlets have really bad drop rates. Like, it kind of gets to the point where you're better off just buying the gear in through the packs. The gauntlet itself is amazing. I love the gameplay of it and the story of it, the design of it. I think it's really cool, but again, it's just the drop rates are to the point where it's like, it's not worth farming. You're better off just opening up the packs and stuff like that, in my general opinion. And I think I also mentioned that this is basically the last gauntlet that I buy. This is the last housing gauntlet I buy, just because, you know, the new ones that are coming out and stuff like that, they just have low drop rates. I don't want to farm forever and ever, you know? I kind of just want my time valued. I think we also mentioned that in a video, kind of talking about appreciating time and stuff like that, and how people are farming crazy amount of hours, and still people are still farming a novice. Like, I don't know if people are still farming, but I've heard people are still farming. So yeah, novice is definitely a big grind. But yeah, this was a pretty good update overall. It's decent. Just some things I didn't like. I like to Rate My Stitch. Don't care for challenge mode. But I'm sure everybody else likes some of the other stuff. And during this time, though, I have these little sticky notes up here. But during this other time, or, you know, other stuff happened, including the extra credits program. If you don't know what that is, it's basically this type of content creator program. You don't even have to be a content creator. I guess you can be an artist or a community manager or a Discord or an owner or something like that, or a fan site leader, and, you know, all that stuff. You know, you fill in your application or whatever. They'd be like, oh, you can come in and you can do these monthly objectives and you can get these specific rewards, which, if I'm being honest, the rewards obviously could be better. I think I mentioned it in the November one, where it's like, you know, maybe it could be crowns, because of course, you know, crowns is a universal kind of thing, you know, and, you know, it would benefit people on Pyro 101, the Wizard 101, and of course Wizard 101 Europe. And I think the reward for that was like the group potions, which I don't really care much about group potions. I think a majority of people don't care about group potions. I actually still don't have the November rewards. I'm kind of too lazy to like dim somebody, be like, hey, I did this. But overall, it's a cool program. The rewards obviously could be better, and it's always nice hanging out with all the content creators and stuff like that. And if I'm just being blunt, I honestly don't text in the extra credit program Discord. I just don't have the time in the world to really mingle with people. I'm actually more of an introvert, if that makes sense to people. But no, it is nice having all your content creator friends in there, right? It is super fun, you know. But again, I do wish the rewards were kind of a little bit better for the content creator program. Like I said, crowns. Speaking of crowns, there was a whole crown fiasco that happened this year. I remember it so vividly because I was on a date with my Wizard101 girlfriend. Yeah, this was the year that we finally met in person, face to face. This was literally the best day of the, like, this is like the best day of my life and the best day of 2023, right? It was a 2-day date. It was awesome. I look at my phone and there's all these things going around about an infinite crown code redemption type of thing, and it was so weird how this happened. This was a very bizarre thing because I don't know how that happens. I don't know. I think it's on both sides. Of course, the people that exploited it obviously know what they're doing, and then also, well, why would they even make a code that could be redeemed an X amount of times? Not only that, but how did a code, a dangerous code like that, release into the wild? That was just bizarre. And we've seen a lot of bizarre things with this video game, but that was really bizarre, man. Still to this day, I am just so confused as to why that whole thing had to happen. Like, all of that could have been prevented easily if you make the code a one redemption type of thing. And I don't know if it's in the coding or the technology. I'm not a tech guru. Do what you gotta do, man. But all I'm gonna say is I don't appreciate how that situation kind of made one of my content creator friends have a lot of stress, because I know that was a very stressful event. And it wasn't even that. I wonder if it was, I don't think it was this year with like everybody getting banned and stuff like that temporarily. Actually, oh my god, it was this year. Wow. I think it really was this year. Either it was this year or last year, but wow, that's just really sad. Honestly, it doesn't matter what year it was, it's just super sad, honestly. It was just a terrible event, honestly. So, yeah, that sucks. Anyway, moving on into the next update, and of course, this update was... God. Dude, come on, man. I'm trying to make this a positive video. I'm telling you, it's going to be positive towards the end. Just bear with me. I apologize if this video is going to be long. I mean, it's the last Wizard101 video. Wow, man. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, there's raids in the game. They have guilds, yada da da. You can go raiding. They released a new raid. It's called the Crying Sky Raid. It's Aztec themed. Oh my gosh, when this dropped, dude, this was rough. I mean, it's just... It's really sad, honestly, how this raid happened, because I feel like with enough time and effort, I feel like this really could have been a very nice raid. Of course, we did the content creator raid, as we always do, and quite frankly, if I'm just being just brutally honest, that will probably be the very last content creator raid we ever do, or at least testing out new content and stuff like that, because this was just not a fun experience on Test Realm and on the launch of it. Obviously, it was an unbeatable raid for about 2 to 3 months. I think mainly just 2 months, almost pushing 3 months. I mean, it doesn't matter. It was just terrible. Bugs, glitches everywhere, and Of course, we had the chest exploit, which I'm sure everybody knows, but if you don't know, basically, and it was in one of the hot fixes or patches, and it's just like, it's just such a bizarre, it's really bizarre. It really is bizarre how things like this happen. Basically, the chest insta spawned in as soon as you enter the raid. Like, the chest would literally just spawn there, so that was really weird. And of course, players took advantage of it. They kept opening up the chest in X amount of times. And basically, KI's solution was to basically like temporarily ban all the players through the entire month of October, or at least the rest of the month of October, and basically release them, right? And of course, they weren't badge locked gear, so you know, once the ban was up, they can basically use their gear and stuff like that. And people are saying it's an unfair advantage, or the raid is unfair and stuff like that. And you know, it's just a very messy raid. And trust me, I'm not no quitter. We have tried the raid many times in the guild. It's a very fun raid. I like how complicated it is in a sense, but yeah, just going from the energy of my guild personally, and this is just from my guild, there are tons of other guilds out there that do this raid and still win, and they're getting tons of loot and stuff like that. You know, congrats to them. But our guild, we just don't really care for it, and you know, I don't think it's really that it's complicated. I just a really no desire to do it, you know? The only thing I would want from this raid are the badges, because the badges are really cool, but otherwise I could really care less about the gear and, you know, all that other stuff. Just, I don't know, it's a whole thing. And another thing that doesn't really make sense is that in order to unlock the crafter, you have to actually beat the raid, and, you know, once you beat the raid, the crafter will actually be, like, inside that in that raid, right? It's not outside the guild house by the guild vendor. That never made sense to me. Why don't you just put the recipes outside the raid? Why is it so forced? Also, why does this raid even have a second chance chest in the first place? It's like, I don't know, it's a lot of questionable things, you know? Some people might like the second chance chest. Personally, for me, I think it kind of saps the fun out of raiding and also just farming, because you can do like basically one raid run and you can open up the chest as many times as you want and get all the gear you want, and then literally never do the raid ever again. To me, I don't know, not my type of vibe. Like I said, some people love this raid. I still like it, but to a certain extent, I just can't imagine putting my guild through that nightmare ever again. Especially, you know, for beginners, because we're kind of like a beginner guild, you know? We actually just did the Dragonspire raid like yesterday or 2 days ago, right? And everybody loved it. And then we did the Azteca raid a little while back, and it wasn't fun. It was not a fun experience. So, yep, just two different raids. I personally love the Dragonspire raid. Just my personal preference. Like I said, if you want to do it, you can find plenty of guilds out there, but just not my cup of tea. But also, we had some pretty fun updates besides the raid, right? Besides the raid, we had some pretty fun updates. Name and gender change, of course. If you have 100 crowns and you have a level 50 wizard, you can basically change your name and gender, or just your name only, or gender and name. This was a pretty good update. We've been asking for this for literally decades. Literally decades. So I'm super happy that they had this. Of course, there were some really wacky names. I think somebody named themselves like Ocean Gate or something like that. And I think they also removed Ebony. Yeah, they kind of fiddle around with it a bunch of times and stuff like that. But yeah, I am happy that they do have that option available for everybody. So definitely make sure to check that out for yourself. Then we also had challenge mode updates again, more tedious modes, and again, it's just like, you know, you can ban Feint, you can ban Bad Juju, that's fine, but like, I don't think you have to put in the advanced rule set, because once the advanced rule set comes in, now you have to look at this entire chart of like stat caps and all of these are banned spells. You can't use enchants, you can't use any standard mode spells. Think of challenge mode as like a mini raid, right? Now it's cool to do it maybe once or twice, but if you don't have the strategy down, or if you just keep dying to it, then you know it's kind of a waste of time. Now I'm sure some people like it. I also like it. I like how you can use some of the advanced combat spells, like the Rochambeau spells and the gambits. I can show you on the screen what exactly I mean, but basically there are spell cards that you can only use in advanced combat. So over here we have Oni's morbidity, if I pronounce that right. Basically you clear one hot, which is a heal over time, off the boss, and you give yourself 2 universal shields, right? That's one of the Rochambeau, and you can only use that in advanced combat. You can't use this in regular PvE, right? And that's something, another thing that kind of like is really weird. I wonder why it's so divided. I feel like everybody should just be able to use it instead of advanced combat. I feel like advanced combat isn't a way to go to experience these spells, because advanced combat is hard, especially if you're doing challenge mode. Another thing I don't like about the update, and I'm not sure if it was in this update, but they also added challenge mode to the whatchamacallit, the boss rematches, which I'm not the biggest fan of. So again, they're still tweaking it, and again, but just not the biggest fan of challenge mode. Beast Moon event updates, which this one, I think it's in the next update, but they did something with rewards that a lot of people didn't like. In-person pet kiosk updates. This one's fine, but of course we made the video talking about how you can basically be summoned from the wrong person. Like somebody will ask for a saber-toothed tiger and you actually don't have a saber-toothed tiger. If you have the same name and pet, you'll still be summoned regardless if it's the right pet. It's a weird coding error. I don't, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not a tech guru, so hopefully there is a patch for that. But you know, after a while it does kind of get annoying. I just kind of figured out just pull all your pets out of the kiosk that you're offering, change their names, and then put them back in the kiosk and see if that helps. Hopefully that does help, but yeah, it's just been a very exhausting glitch, honestly. And yeah, like I said, hopefully they figure that out. PvP changes. I'm sorry guys, I'm not really a PvP guy, so I'm not gonna like dig deep into that, but you know, if you are a PvP player, it's definitely worth checking out, especially with the banned spells and stuff like that. Spell changes, you can no longer acquire these spells directly from bosses. Sacred Charge, Catch of the Day, Burning Rampage, etc. They all have their own little spell mint paths. There's a level scaling preview kiosk for PvP if you want to check that out. Pretty interesting stuff, honestly. They have some pretty interesting stuff and hot fixes. They added a new key boss, which is pretty cool. Several boss rematch changes and all that stuff to make everything more tedious. But overall, it was a nice little few months of stuff to do, basically. And then finally, the last update. And this update was amazing. It was literally perfect. It was perfect to the minute detail. To the very minute detail, I love Walao. Walao is probably my favorite world in a very long time, right? And if I'm going off of this like from Novus, because Novus was a previous world, I absolutely dread Novus. I think the story is fine. I don't really care much about the story, but gameplay wise, Novus is just weird. Definitely a hard place to solo. Well, Walao was also kind of hard in the solo fights, but Novus was just weird all around. Mainly the farming. Just the way the farm gear was very exhausting. That definitely was a conversation everybody had, and you know, just not a lot of people were on board with it. I personally was not on board with it. I don't like being forced to a polymorph and forced to look at all these hieroglyphic spells like, oh, if you attack this target while eating a taco, get 2 shields. And I'm just sitting there like, wow. And then everybody else, especially for first timers or casual players that don't know what the cards are, it's going to take them a minute to read what the conditions are and what the gambits are. It was a nice little spice up. I definitely agree it was nice to spice it up, but I don't know. I still think that forcing polymorphs isn't fun. In my personal opinion, I don't know. I just want my own spells. They did update that fight. Obviously, they made it a lot more better, a lot easier. Still, though, I just wouldn't farm it in general. It's just, in my opinion, a waste of time. But if you want to farm it, go farm it. It's your world, not mine. But Walao overall was a great. I'm not gonna spoil the story for y'all or anything, so relax. But overall, gameplay was fine. There's plenty of solo fights that a lot of people were struggling with, but honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it's too hard. Yeah, Walao was really fun. We also had new spells and spell quests, which were really great. And I think one thing I like is that you can actually learn all of the spells. It's not just specific to your own school, right? Like, so for example, we had the Forest Lord spell, and of course that was a life quest, but you know, now you can basically do your own spell quest and then you can get the spellments for the other spells, which is pretty cool. So they're basically cross-trainable. So again, pretty cool stuff. We also have the Guild Museum, which is another pretty cool feature. If you have an active guild, if you don't really have an active guild, then you're sadly not going to be able to experience this. But again, it's a very fun thing to do with the guild. We've done it a few times. It's kind of hard to gather a lot of people to do activities and stuff like that. But it is cool. We're trying to farm for the Pendragon rematch, which is a new rematch that's, I think, exclusive to the Guild Museum. So definitely want to make sure I check that out in 2024 if possible. But yeah, overall, it's pretty cool. Of course, we got some new beast form, you know, beast forms, obviously. So again, if you're into that. And I think this is the update where a lot of people are kind of iffy on it, basically. The transmute recipes will allow you to get extra idols from your excess gold and regular idols, which I like. There are also 2 new hasty harvest spells that allow you to hasty harvest lower level beastman seeds for a lower energy cost. A lot of people are kind of like confused about that and stuff like that, about the hasty harvest treasure cards and all that stuff. That was a whole fiasco. But if you're a beastman player, I don't think it should affect you too much. I actually like what they did with Beast Moon Hunt. The rewards are insane. About 12 pages for winning and 6 for losing. And of course, that's one of the ways you can get the new regenerate spellments, which are pretty cool. I did the bomb bat for that. Several spells have been updated for PvP, most notably heal overtime spells. Berry Surprise, Dark and Stormy, Goat Monk, Hungry Caterpillar, Regenerate. We talked about the Regenerate nerf and all the heal nerfs. They basically kind of nerfed the healing a little bit. But honestly, if you have a lot of outgoing, it shouldn't really bother you. One thing I do want to say about Walao and this overall update is that it's super easy to craft a gear, right? All you need is a certain reagent, and that reagent is really easy to get. And I just want to say that if they go forward with this farming method, I am all for it 100%. Please don't ever go back to what you did in Novus, where you have to get like 9 pieces of masterpiece gear and the drop rates are low or the bosses are just too overcomplicated. Please don't do that. You can make the bosses overcomplicated, but make sure the drop rates are fine, and also make sure that the crafting recipes are also fair. But Walao is literally a dream, which is ironic because the whole world is themed around the dreaming. I love the new jewels. The new jewels are insane. Let me show you guys on screen right now what I'm talking about. One of the new jewels I can actually show you both. One of the new jewels that I like are the square sockets. So for every square socket, you can actually put like a health opal or a healing opal. So as you can see right here, I have an 8%. This is an 8% outgoing, and that's for a square socket. So you can put this on all of your square socket wands. Even for healing wands like the Emerald Cayman Scepter, which if I'm not mistaken, this wand has the highest outgoing in the game for level 170 just because it has a square socket. And I think shout out to Snail for the one that was talking about this wand previously, a previous member of the guild, because you get a base of 20% outgoing plus a 28 or plus an 8%, that makes it a total of 28. Of course, you can use the Sword of Kings and the Silver Order of the Spiral, but remember that those wands don't have a square socket. So this wand, I highly recommend you get this wand if you're a healer. Another cool aspect about this wand is that it's a universal type of gear, so any school can use this gear. It's not just a life-specific wand. Any school can use it. So again, make sure to check that out. But if you don't want that, you can also get a health one, which is pretty cool. For life wizards, it's up to plus 775, so 775. So in case you don't want some extra outgoing, you give yourself some extra health. Definitely would go well with the decathlon decks that have the square sockets. Definitely give you a little bit of an advantage. Again, it's just really cool, man. It's just really cool stuff. I really do like Walao, and I really hope that they continue forward with that. And speaking of Walao and dreaming, there's actually some news for 2024, at least from my knowledge. The only thing we know for 2024 is that we're getting that dungeon. They had mentioned how they didn't want to like put the hat, robe, and boots like in this part of the update. They just wanted everybody to farm the jewels and the decks and stuff like that, and then in early 2024, I believe, is when they said that we will be getting a new dungeon, or at least the gear. They said it's like a nightmare themed dungeon or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. One thing that is concerning though is that I don't think they are doing a test run. Don't quote me on that. Please don't quote me on that. I think they mentioned it in like one of their streams or something like that, or the comment was mentioned. I really hope that there still is a test run for that. Obviously, I'm not going to be testing it because I don't do test runs anymore. But I really hope that we do get that. I really do hope that it is tested properly, because I don't want another Crying Sky raid fiasco. I just want a nice update for once, and we finally do with this update. This Walao update is amazing. Some people might not like it, I don't know why, but personally for me, this Walao update and the world of Walao is absolutely amazing. Probably one of my best worlds in a very long time. Despite it being short, I'm fine that it's short, but dude, if I had to compare this to Novus, this is nowhere near Novus. I literally cannot stand Novus, right? I literally can't stand Novus. Now, going back to 2023, of course, we had the 12 Days of the Spiral, which, again, that's its own conversation. We also had some disconnection issues. Of course, that 15-hour downtime was brutal. That was, again, its own little conversation / fiasco. Overall, though, 2023, I mean, this year was pretty fun, honestly. I mean, if I'm just being blunt, I think Walao was definitely a great, like, stopping ground, or at least stopping ground to kind of, like, maybe, you know, save some energy for other content, like, quality of life stuff, you know? For example, what about the energy cap and stuff like that? They capped the energy to 130 at level 130, and I believe I was in Caramel, and I don't know why they capped it at 130. I feel like the energy cap should just keep increasing over time. I feel like energy doesn't really do anything. Like, there's not really much of an advantage over it. It would definitely help for raids just to give you that extra energy, but again, I really don't know why they capped it to just 130. They can also bring back some older stuff like the treasure card vault, which they've said multiple times we're not getting, so that will probably just be in the coffin for a little bit. Maybe the earn crowns for watching the ads. I would love to see that come back, or perhaps increase the guild capacity, because the guild can only go up to 50 account spaces, which in my opinion just is too small. I don't know, I feel like 100 is nice, but 50 account spaces in my opinion is just too small in my book. But if they want to keep it at 50, that's fine by me. It just means I'm gonna have to keep kicking people over and over again. What else? I mean, yeah, just quality of life stuff, honestly. I mean, I don't really care for a new world next year for 2024, you know? I feel like now is a good time to kind of show the community how much you can improve on, and then kind of amp them up for the next world, which I don't know when the next world, I don't know if they're planning a next world this year or you know, usual for 2024, you know, they do a new world like every year or whatever, but I'm definitely excited for that nightmare gear and whatever it's going to be, a dungeon or a boss or whatever is going to happen with that. Definitely excited for that. And definitely excited to keep making Wizard101 videos for you guys. That's going to be super fun. Super excited for 2024. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you guys so much for 5,000 subscribers. That is a lot of you guys. Also 1,000 followers on Twitter. Again, just too many of you guys, right? I'm glad I can give you guys the news also with the clickbaits and the hyper exaggerated contents. Don't worry, those will be coming in 2024, especially if there's ever a lame free code like a housing item. I will definitely over exaggerate that. But yeah, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for, again, just another wonderful year. Definitely 2024, I'm gonna be busy. Definitely gonna get my license, get a job, definitely try to see my girlfriend again, and of course do more content for you guys. Hopefully 2024 is a little bit less chaotic than 2023. I feel like 2023 had a lot of messy hiccups, you know, but I'm really confident in KI, and I hope they have a wonderful, happy new year. Definitely look forward to the new content. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I'm not gonna cry for you guys, obviously, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say for you guys. So yeah, I will see you guys in 2024. I will see you guys later, and until then, peace out.